So you've probably heard about TCL, the company that's popular for making affordable TVs. Now they're making cell phones under their own name, and this isn't their first rodeo. They've actually made phones before under Alcatel or BlackBerry. So they've got two unlocked phones they're getting ready to release. One is the 10L, and this one that we're going to look at today is the 10 Pro. I'd like to thank TCL for sending me this review unit. Now you want to talk about packing in a lot of features for under 500 bucks? Just listen to some of these specs. So it's got a 6.47 inch curved AMOLED display, 1080 by 2340 resolution, which is 398 ppi, 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio, with a 93% screen to body ratio, always on display, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. It supports a micro SD card up to 256 gigabytes, a 4500 milliamp hour battery. Yeah, that's bigger than my OnePlus 7 Pro. Quick Charge 3.0, OTG reverse charging, USB-C charging, plus it's also got a built-in fingerprint scanner in the screen. So hopefully that's as good as on my OnePlus 7 Pro. This has not one, not two, not three, but 4 cameras. A 2, 5, 16, and 64 megapixel. I don't know, we may have to do a separate video just on the cameras. Now this does have a Snapdragon 675 processor, so I would think you're gonna get really good battery life with that. And that's just some of the highlights. I don't know, these guys could be the new OnePlus. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what we've got. Okay, so yeah, that definitely has a little weight to it. SIM and micro SD card ejection tool. Thankfully, they do include a case because I don't think there's too many out there right now. Quick start guide and safety information. A really nice quality and thick like my OnePlus 7 Pro. USB-C charging cable and charging brick. Oh wow. Yeah, this thing looks really good in person. Okay, the build quality in this thing is really good. I'm talking like the same as my OnePlus 7 Pro. It's like they're even using the same materials. Check out the camera strip on the back of this. I don't know if you remember, but it sort of reminds me of how LG used to do things back in the day. Power and volume buttons there on the right hand side. Nice thing is it's closer to the middle of the phone, so it's going to be pretty easy to use. It should be released here fairly soon for less than $500. Hey OnePlus, check this out. They actually fit a headphone jack. It also looks like an IR blaster there at the top, which would make sense considering these guys make TVs. There's also a dedicated button there on the side that they're calling a smart key. You can customize it by single press, double press, or long press, even if your phone is locked. Your SIM and micro SD card slot is down at the bottom next to the charging port. The one downside to this phone is it only has one bottom firing speaker. I wish they would have added one where the earpiece is. Then you've got a teardrop style front facing camera is 24 megapixel. So it actually has a double-sided tray. One side is the SIM card and the other side is your micro SD card. With the case on, it definitely gives it better grip. Not that the phone is super slippery, but yeah, there's no way I would use this without a case. Now, one issue that OnePlus had, I think with their 6, is the area where you scan your fingerprint was too small. I'm hoping that's not the issue with this phone. It's also got face unlock. You can choose left-handed or right-handed, depending on which is your dominant hand. It's also got Next Vision to help improve your multimedia visual experience. Sure, we'll leave that on. You can also choose Home and App Drawer or Home Screen only. Okay, so they've got a nice little space looking theme here. Only 10% used of the 128 gigabyte storage. You can see this is on Android 10, March 1st, 2020 security patch. Okay, so they got the Google News feed there to the left. It looks like this is pretty much stock Android. I think it's really nice where you just swipe down to get your notifications. It does use categories in the app drawer. Luckily, you can sort those several ways. And luckily, some of the preloaded apps that came on this phone, it does allow you to uninstall. In the notification shade, it's very similar to other Android devices. You've got stuff like eye comfort mode, do not disturb, cast, flashlight, NFC, screen recorder, dark mode. It does have a one-handed mode, hotspot, and data saver. You can also edit this, where you can add reading mode or driving mode. You can see here in the settings, it's not really that much different than other Android devices. It also lets you customize buttons, gesture navigation, button layout down here at the bottom. Okay, so one thing I noticed with the fingerprint scanner, you have to be just in the right spot in order for it to work. But overall, I guess not too bad for their first attempt. I think it'll just take a little bit getting used to compared to my OnePlus 7 Pro. Over here on the side of the home screen, there's a little sidebar where you can add shortcuts to different apps. And even a ruler. So that's definitely a little different than most phones that I've used. Let me give you a quick sample of what this bottom firing speaker sounds like, just so you can get an idea of how loud it is. The stylus they have, it's lightweight and really easy to use. I can definitely see this being one of the most popular devices this year for drawing, taking notes, or just doing anything related to using a stylus or pencil on tablets. By the way, did I mention how good this stylus is? I may just have to do a separate video so you can see this thing in action. Not bad, eh? In person, the bottom firing speaker is probably loud enough for most people. I still think they should have added a second speaker where the earpiece is, but that's just me. Here's a quick look at the camera app. You've got auto, video, portrait, which you can actually adjust the f-stop, super night, and pro. And then under more, you've got slow-mo, stop motion, light trace, pano, super macro, and high pixel. You can also edit that to your liking. Pretty typical aspect ratios here at the top. You got 4:3, 16:9, and 1:1. You've also got full screen. Now you can customize quite a bit of stuff here in the settings. You can choose the photo size from 10 megapixel all the way up to 64 megapixel. You can see depending on which aspect ratio is going to determine which lens it's using. Now on video quality, you've got 4K at 30 frames per second, 1080p, 720p, and 480p. You can control the shutter with the volume button, touch to capture, and you can also turn the shutter sound and watermark on and off. So it does take a second in order to take the photo at 64 megapixels. I don't know, what do you think? That looks really good on screen. Here's a few examples of photos I took just to give you an idea of what to expect from the TCL 10 Pro. After taking these photos, I couldn't believe how good these are. I think these might be better than my OnePlus 7 Pro, seriously. They might even be on par with my wife's Pixel 3a XL. Now I'm talking about the main 64 megapixel camera, because when you're using stuff like the macro lens, it doesn't really seem that great to me. Now you'll notice from these video clips, 4K video at only 30 frames per second actually looks really good. 1080p looks okay, I guess. But that front camera for video, yeah, that needs a lot of work. Now gaming on this phone is a real treat. The gameplay is nice and smooth, and that display feels so smooth for some reason. Graphics settings on PUBG Mobile are HD with high frame rates. So here's a few clips just to show how much I enjoy playing on this phone. I didn't see any glitches or choppiness during my testing. Now this may have a mid-range processor, but when gaming, you wouldn't even notice. I also tested Asphalt 9 to see how that played, and it was nice and smooth as well. If you want a good gaming device with really good battery life, you'll definitely want to check this one out. Again, I could see this company going in the direction of what OnePlus did in their earlier years. I remember getting the OnePlus One phone, and I don't remember it being this good. So I can't wait to see what else is to come from TCL. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.